Good at it.
Yeah.
For us, roll, really.
Vända.
What you like? Okay, well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Parent Ed Night. I want to first of all thank you for being here, taking some time out of your very busy day to receive some very important information that we have to offer to you today. So, lots of important information that you're going to receive, and you're going to leave lots of information in your head. So. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to introduce our presenter for the night, and our appreciation to Officer Kraft for taking time out of his day to come and help us deliver important information to you. So at this time, Officer Kraft, the floor is yours.
Oh, can you hear me? Is it working? All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Officer Kraft.
I am one of the school officers that works for the Delano Police Department, but I'm contracted to work with the elementary school district. I have another partner, Officer Chavez. She's not available tonight, but it's just going to be me to talk with you guys. Throughout the presentation, if you guys have any questions or need any information clarified, please just raise your hand. I'll address it right then and there. Then we'll have a time at the end too for questions. Is it working? Can you hear me anyway? Okay. If I'm talking loud, if I need to speak up louder, please let me know. I mean, I'm pretty good at projecting out and letting everybody hear me anyway. So again, I'm Officer Kraft. I've been with the Delano Police Department a few weeks shy of 18 years. So I've been doing this for quite a while. I've had several assignments while working here with the police department. I started out as a patrol officer, like all officers do. I'd say probably about half of my total time has been spent as a patrol officer, where we respond to anything and everything. Somebody needs help, somebody's car got stolen, somebody got robbed. Anything and everything, a patrol officer will respond and do an initial report. Sometimes it will be needed to be sent to the detectives or the investigations afterward. But as a patrol officer, we're the first ones there that pretty much handles everything. I have been a school officer like I am now. This is actually my third time being a school officer. I've worked with the high schools, the middle schools, and the elementary. This is probably one of my favorite assignments being a school officer. I really enjoy working with the students, the teachers, the staff, the faculty, everybody. Need one of the things? Give her a second to catch up with us. Hello. So again, as a school resource officer, again, this is one of my favorite assignments. I asked to be here. I volunteered and was selected to be one of the school officers to work with the elementary district. The first time was with the high school district way back when RFK first opened. I was their first SRO. And then I went on to some other assignments. And then I was with the elementary district working on the west side schools, all the elementary schools west of the freeway. Then COVID happened. I got cycled back into patrol. And now I'm back as an SRO again with the elementary district, handling all of the schools east of the freeway. This is my second school year, this time around as an SRO, and again, I'm enjoying it. I love working with all your students, the families, the staff, the faculty, everybody. It's a lot of people to work with, and I enjoy it. I have 7 schools, so I have 7 sets of admin, 7 sets of teachers, 7 sets of students, and everything that comes with each school. I have 7 of them, so I am spread a little thin, but I really do try and spend as much time at each school as I can with the students and the staff and faculty. See, one of my other assignments that I've had, I've worked as a traffic officer, working on collision investigations, traffic enforcement, pretty much just trying to keep the streets as safe as possible. That's the main goal of a traffic officer. It's not to go out and write tickets and cost people a whole bunch of money. That's not why we go out and write tickets. It's really to promote and enforce traffic safety. I've been through a vast array of classes for training with accident investigation, railroad collision investigation, a lot of DUI investigation. I'm an FST instructor. You know, when you see the people out on the side of the road with the officers doing this and all the tests that they have to do, I'm an instructor for that for other officers. Let's see, I've been a training officer where I train new officers, get them ready from the academy to go out on the street and be a patrol officer. I've been a gang detective where I've worked with the gang problems that we have here in this community and the surrounding areas within Kern County, Tulare County, all the way up to San Francisco, all the way over past San Bernardino. We've been all over the place. But again, the SRO and the traffic were probably my 2 favorites, so I'm really glad that I'm here now as a school officer. I have a whole lot of experience to be able to help your students as much as possible. And again, as a SRO, it's not my job, it's not punitive. The role of the school officer is to maintain safety and security. That's my primary job as an SRO, is a law enforcement officer. I'm a police officer. That is my primary responsibility. But with that, I also work as an educator, a counselor, a community liaison. We work with the education of your students too. So again, I'm not here to see who I can get in trouble. That's not my goal. My goal is to make sure that they're safe, that they're in a good learning environment, and to be able to provide the support that I can for the teachers, the staff, your students, your families. I interact quite a bit. A lot of times, students come to school and this is their safe space, and they let somebody know what's going on. And we're glad that they do that. I'm glad that they do that. For the most part, my area of responsibility is at the school campuses. If a crime happens at school, that's my responsibility to work on and investigate. But a lot of times, like I say, the students, they'll report stuff that happened after hours or over the weekend or whenever. And I'm glad that the school is a safe place, that they can let somebody know what's going on. And then I will jump in and assist. And if it goes beyond the scope of my normal hours and everything, I will do an initial investigation, prepare as much information as I can, and provide it to either patrol, investigation, to let them continue the investigation. But I'm glad when the students feel safe enough that they can let us know here at school what's going on, even if it didn't happen at school. So we're going to start off with substance abuse. The pandemic, which I mentioned, has happened right as I was doing my second round as an SRO. Between March of 2020 and February 2022, there was a 122% increase in the substance abuse at schools with students. A lot more kids are using the drugs, using the substances, alcohol, cannabis, the marijuana. The numbers have gone up, and it's something that we want to work on to bring back down. Nicotine, cigarettes. Years and years ago, it was just cigarettes, but that has evolved, and it's gone into the e-cigarettes, the vaping. There's the two different types of vapes. There's the vaping with the nicotine. There's the vaping with the cannabis, the THC, the same as smoking marijuana, and it's gone up. They believe that it's safer to vape. It just presents a different set of problems to their health that other than the smoking. It's still not healthy, and at this age, well, it's illegal. They can't be doing it anyway. You gotta wait till you're 21 to be able to use the tobacco, the THC, and get a vaping product. But it's creating addiction, lung damage, and many other health concerns. So we wanna make sure that that stays off the campus. When I deal with it, for me personally, it's for the most part going to be a zero tolerance for my discretion when dealing with students with drugs on campus, be it, again, cannabis, the marijuana, nicotine, any of the other drugs, because we do find other drugs periodically as well. But for the most part right now, it's vaping that we're dealing with. Sometimes some edibles, some gummies with the THC and that goes along with the cannabis. So it's my job to address it. If your student is at least 13 years or older, they can be cited. In the eyes of California, they can commit a crime once they're 13. They can be arrested, they can be cited, they can be taken to jail, to juvenile hall. Again, it's not my goal to be punitive. I'm not here to punish your students. It's just to hold them accountable and make sure that everybody's safe. So there's all different types. There's the wrappers, the loose leaf marijuana, the Swisher Sweets. So many different ways that students use these drugs. The little vape pens, the one in the middle of that little stack, the little short fat one, that's kind of the style that's become a little bit more popular right now. But all of those, I found examples of all of those on students throughout the district here in Delano. It's pretty prevalent. They get them from many different sources. Sometimes there's houses in the community where the kids just walk up and buy drugs from this random house that they learn where these houses are at, and they'll sell to these kids. There's candy. It looks like candy, but that's laced with THC. That's just like smoking a joint, taking a hit off of a bong. They get the same high off of stuff that just looks like candy. So you got to be aware of what your students are bringing home. If you see them eating a candy, you got to make sure that it's actually candy and not something like that, because that is where it's going. That's how they try and get your students to be using drugs early, because it's like candy. It tastes good. They're going to get the same effects of the drugs as it would be smoking from a joint, smoking from a bong, whatever. The social media, the smartphones, they're getting pretty sophisticated with that too. These kids are pretty adept at using their devices to get what they want, as far as Instagram, TikTok, all of them. There are ways to do it. They have little symbols and little codes that they use with each other. They post the photos. They have, again, like the little emojis and the instructions. They'll have little codes that they talk to each other to know what's going on, how much is going to be, who's actually selling, where you can find it. And a lot of times they're using digital money for it too. They're not even having paper money. It's all the Venmo, the Cash App, all of that stuff. It's become very digital with students getting and buying and selling drugs, because we got the students that are selling it too. We got the ones that are buying, and we got the students that are selling. I've dealt with students throughout the district selling drugs on campus. And again, for me, that's a zero tolerance. If they're of age, they're going to be cited, they're going to be arrested. I don't care who you are, what you got going on. For me, again, the safety for everybody else on campus is most important. They will be arrested or cited if they're old enough. If they're not, there's other routes that we could handle. A lot of it will be handled administratively with the school. They have handled this too. I'm not out here doing this by myself. I work with the administrators at all sites here at school. Mr. Ray and I have a pretty good relationship with handling the students. Again, like I said, some things I have is zero tolerance. I will even take it from him, even if he's like, yeah, I don't know. If it's something that I feel like I need to handle, I will. And I don't do it in a disrespectful way with the administrators, but we have a pretty good working relationship with being able to handle the safety and security of your students here at school. Again, other drugs that we're looking for, the vape pens, the loose leaf cannabis, marijuana, the meth, the cocaine. Yes, there are students that use these drugs too. Just a few weeks ago, there was a high school student high on, I think it was cocaine at school. He was just looking for a fight, and he got into a fight with some cops, and he got arrested. So it's happening in the high schools, in the middle schools, even some of the elementary kids. I've dealt with some fifth graders even at the elementary schools that are having these vape pens. So it's something to be aware of, what your kids have in their bags, what they have in their backpacks, in their rooms. Because the meth, it's still here, and kids start pretty young with this stuff. They're starting as teenagers, and they just slowly progress. They drop out, they move, they run away, they do the drugs. And they become adults who continue the behavior. And we're wanting to stop it now while they're here at school, where we have a little bit more, I don't want to say control like it's a bad thing, but we have the students here, we can talk to them and educate them about what's going on. Got the meth, it's made in a lab, it's not natural. You know, like cannabis, the marijuana, it comes from a leafy plant, it's a little bit more natural. A lot of these other drugs are made in a lab. Fentanyl's a scary one. It's really bad. It does not take very much to kill somebody. I know from personal experience, one of my cousins died from an accidental overdose on fentanyl. He was of age, and he recreationally smoked cannabis, marijuana, to each your own, but he bought a batch that was laced with fentanyl, and he didn't know it. Him, his girlfriend, his sister's boyfriend, and his boss all died the same night on a fentanyl overdose. So this one to me is even more important. It doesn't need to be out there. I want to make sure these kids are safe. I don't want that to happen to any of your students, your relatives, anybody. My daughter has a lifelong heart condition that she was born with. She's had 3 open heart surgeries. That's where the fentanyl needs to be at, in the hospitals, in a medical environment. They had to microdose her with fentanyl after one of her surgeries. And when I heard that word, it's kind of scary, but they explained it to me. This is a medical setting. This is in a hospital. This is what it's supposed to be used for. So I felt a little bit better about it. But as a police officer, knowing what happens to people who overdose and use fentanyl, it's kind of scary. But just know that when it's used in the right way, it is a safe drug and it has its purposes and its reasons. It's just when used on the street and they lace other drugs with the fentanyl that it becomes scary and very fatal. It takes a teeny tiny amount to kill somebody. Another thing that we deal with here in town is gangs. Many people are aware that we have a gang problem here in Delano. There's both the Northern Mexican gang affiliates and the Southern Mexican gang affiliates. Those are the 2 main gangs here in the Delano area. And this is just kind of a little brief and info for you guys as to some of the stuff that's going on here in our community. Again, I worked as a gang detective. I worked up gang cases, robberies, murders, drugs, all of that. And it's happening here in our communities. And it's starting at this age group. We had middle schoolers that were already in this life. And sometimes it's the families just don't realize that they're even showing the signs at home. So this is just a little bit of education for you to, if you see it or if you know anybody else who's kind of starting to show some of these signs, it's a good time right now to get them and to hopefully steer them back on a better path and not end up in the gangs. Because some of the stereotypes have even changed. Before it was always flying their colors. They had their blue shirt, their blue rags, everything, the red. They're becoming a little bit more sophisticated with it, and they don't want to be as out there for everybody to see, to realize. They're still going to be doing their crimes and being in the gangs, but they're not being as out there and obvious as it used to be. They start recruiting elementary, middle school, starting to get their hooks in them. Girls too, out of the gangs, there's about 10%. 1 out of every gang member is a girl. Sometimes they want your students to not get in trouble, but still be in the lifestyle so that they can get educated. Because now it's a business. Yeah, there's crime that goes with it, but it's about money. That's what they want. That's what they need. That's what they work for. More money. So they're wanting their gang members to go to school, to go to college, get business degrees, figure out ways to make more money. Go to the military, get trained so they have better tactics so that they can war with each other, kill each other, so that they can make more money. Because that's basically what it comes down to. The control, the power, and the money. You know, some signs that your child may be influenced. They may dress different. Some tattoos start popping up. I know that I've seen students at middle school age start getting little dots, little letters tattooed on themselves. A lot of times that's an indicator that they're getting into the lifestyle. Sometimes they'll have nicknames. They'll be hanging out with new people, somebody that you may not know. They have friends that, or maybe they're a little bit more obvious with being gang members. The music that they listen to. Sometimes it can be a gradual change that you may not even notice it, but it's important to be aware that a lot of the signs are there. You just have to watch and pay attention and see. Some of the gang symbolism, if you see this stuff, on the Norteño side, it's the color red, the stars, 4 dots, 4 lines, the number 14, SF, a lot of them are 49er fans. For the Scrap Free, SK, Scrap Killa, there's a whole lot of innuendo that they use that they've adopted to show their affiliation with what side of the gang they want to be on. The Soreños, La M. It's 3 dots, the number 13. The 3 lines with the 3 dots with the 2 lines. There's just little signs and symbols that you may notice that they're writing in their books, or they may have on some of their clothes. or whatever. A lot of times they graffiti their own stuff, they write it on their notebooks. It's just a matter of going through their stuff, which you should be doing. Sometimes some of the clothes that they wear, the belts that they have, just little things that they can, again, they don't want to be so out there anymore, but they still want to have a part of it and show it a little bit. Even if it's something that you can't see, like say it's a belt buckle. They'll have it, their shirt over it, they still have it, and they can show their buddies like, hey, no, see, I got the stuff, but it's out there. Tattoos. I arrested a guy up at the top left corner. That's not my booking photo, but I arrested him. The Welga bird, the Southside Delano, the SF for the Norteños, the dots, the stars. It's all stuff to look for. And again, at the age that your students are now, they're, for the most part, they're not going to be putting the tattoos on their bodies where it's super obvious, but sometimes they do. They'll put the little dots on their elbows, on their little wrist bones. Sometimes it'll be under their, like where you wouldn't be able to see if they're wearing shorts and a t-shirt. But kids are still getting the tattoos. It's important to look and to make sure that you're aware if they are. So it's when they get together, they'll start to have the clothes, the little hand symbols. That's right here across the street where this picture was taken. Again, the Norteños and the Sureños are the two main gangs that we have here, and they both fall under a bigger umbrella with the Nuestra Familia for the Norteños. And all those gangs under that umbrella are all verified gangs here in Delano. The West Side Delano, East Side Delano, North Side Delano, South Side Delano, 14. That gang was started at this age group. A few years ago, some detectives and gang officers were out there, and they just started to notice a whole lot of kids were getting into the lifestyle. And it was started not necessarily at this school, but at this age. A new gang that has been documented, it is now an official gang here in Delano, started with kids at this age in middle school. You have the Barrio Delano Locos, 21st Avenue, Youth Gone Wild, Way of Life. And as you can see, the Sureños, they don't have as much of a presence here in Delano, but they are here. You have the Southside Delano, Southside Criminals. So they're here. The presence is known. We work together with other agencies to battle and go after these gangs. But they're coming after your kids. Because again, like I said, the Southside Delano Norte, that started at this age group, middle school. Those were the main targets for the people coming out of prison. I ran into a guy when I was a gang detective who just got released from, I think it was from Pelican Bay. He was sent here to recruit your kids. His job when he got out of prison was to come here and get kids, your kids' age, middle school, to start a gang of just kids. So, and that came from the top of the Norteños, the Nuestra Familia. He was sent here to get your kids and get them in a gang. So it's really important that you guys just listen and look and see what's going on with them. A little bit more information about sometimes why the students become defiant. And a lot of times it's not parents doing anything on purpose, but sometimes they're not as present, they're not involved as much. Parents work too much. I know I do. I've got two jobs. I do this, and I'm also in the National Guard. So time is scarce sometimes, and the kids feel like they don't get enough. Sometimes they feel like it's they're not important because mom and dad or whomever's in the family have other stuff going on. That may not be how you feel. I know it's not. I have two kids. That's not how I feel, but that may be how they feel about you. Discipline is a good thing. Both taking stuff away, whatever you need to do to discipline your child. It can be, yes, corporal punishment is allowed. It's not always recommended, but sometimes it goes between abuse and discipline. You just have to not blur the lines. Reward the punishment. Don't have those empty threats. I know as a kid growing up, my dad would always tell me, clean your room, I'm going to throw all your stuff away. I wouldn't clean my room. Guess what? He didn't throw my stuff away. So to me, it was just an empty threat. So I never did it. So you got to have a follow through. When you tell your kids that you're going to do something, you got to have that follow through. Keep them busy. Sports. I know here at Cecil Middle School, they have sports where they compete with other students from other schools at the same age. Keep them busy, get them involved in stuff. At the police department, we have an Explorer program. Middle school is a little young for that. We used to have a junior cadet program. We don't have that going right now, but when they get a little bit older, 15, I think, is when they can start now. We have an Explorer program with the police department. It's a great program. They get to do so much stuff, community engagement, going out and doing stuff, community service. It's a great experience, and a lot of students really have a great time doing it. Just take a few minutes every day, talk to your kids, say how to go. Again, I got 2 kids, 23 and 19. They don't want to talk to me about their day, but you gotta get it from them anyway. Show them that you care. Educate them about the stuff that we're talking about. The gangs, the drugs, the social media. Educate them about it. A lot of times this feels what's going on. Many years ago, if the kid was screwing up, the kid was the one that was held accountable. Now sometimes it feels like the teachers are the ones. It's the teacher's fault. Not saying one way or the other, but you got to be able to hold your own kids accountable. If they're the ones screwing up or need a little bit of help, it may be their fault. It may be a little bit extra attention that they need. Get involved, try and find that balance, talk to them, get them involved with family stuff, the church, sports games, hanging out with each other, doing whatever. Just find out what they like and promote that, encourage them to do it. Keeps them off the streets, keeps them out of the gangs, gives them something to do. Can you hit your child? Again, like I kind of touched on, yes, corporal punishment is allowed, but it has to be reasonable. You can't be abusing. It can't be just for nothing. It has to be genuine. You can't be leaving marks. You can't be breaking bones, breaking skin, anything like that. That's where it goes from discipline into child abuse. And I'll come arrest you if you do that. It wouldn't be the first time. So just know that, yes, you can do that, but it has to be for a reason, and you cannot be excessive in it. Yes, you can search anywhere in your house. Your child has no privacy. It's not their room. It's not their bag. It's nothing. It's yours. You need to go through it, especially their cell phones. My kids didn't get a smartphone. They got a dumb phone is what I called it. All they could do was text and a phone call. There was none of the social media, the TikToks, the Snapchat, the Facebook, none of that. They started out with dumb phones. Again, that's what we called them. You need to go through your kid's phone, and if they don't want to give you access to their phone, you need to take it away. They don't need it. If they're here at school and you need to get a hold of them, call the school. They'll get a hold of your kid. And vice versa. If they're here at school and they need something, they tell the teacher, they can get a hold of you. You need to go through your phones. Go through their bags. Go through their rooms. It's yours, not theirs. They're going to balk at it. They're not going to like that you want to do it, but you need to go through their stuff. Go through their phones. See who they're talking to. Because the impact of social media today is pretty strong. See, here's some of the positives, some of the negatives. Social media is a good thing. There's a way to connect with everybody, different resources with the good information, but there's also the negatives. It impacts their mental health. They become addicted to these. We all have them. We all use them. But they can be exposed to the cyberbullying. That's one of the biggest things that we deal with throughout the entire district is the cyberbullying. These kids are sending mean messages to each other. They're sending pictures to each other, nasty messages to each other, back and forth. You need to be going on their phone because they may be the bully or they may be the ones who are getting bullied, and it's important that we find that out. Online predators, that's huge. We haven't had a big presence of it here, but it's here. You need to make sure that they're looking at it, that you're looking at it. You got to be aware of their privacy settings. You don't want just anybody being able to look at their stuff. Their stuff needs to be private. They don't need to be open to all these weirdos out there trying to message your sons and daughters. Because the predators are out there. They're using the chat rooms, the social media. A lot of it is the DMs, the direct message, be it TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, any of those. They're going to see your kids' profiles, and a lot of times they're going to reach out and try and communicate with them. They introduce topics, sexual topics, explicit material, trying to get pictures of them. We have students back and forth with each other, sharing and sending inappropriate photos of each other. But a lot of times the online predators, they're going to be out there too, trying to get the impact and contact with your kid. 11 to 13-year-old girls are the most likely to be targeted by these online predators. It's out there. A lot of the victims are girls. So it's just, again, something to be aware of. Look at their cell phones, see who they're talking to. Make them show you. Show me your messages. Show me your DMs. I want to see who you're talking to. I want to see who's trying to talk to you. You got to be there. You got to look and see who they're talking to. Because they're talking to people right now that you guys don't know about. 100% guaranteed. They're messaging with each other. There's strangers messaging them that you guys just aren't even aware of. You need to get in their phones. You need to make them show you that information. Because a lot of times they gain the trust, the predators or whomever gain the trust of your kids, and they try and just get information from them. Identity theft, cyber stalking. They can figure out where you are because it's all geo-based with your location and everything. It's just really, really important that you guys are involved and know who's talking to your kids and who they're talking to. That's pretty much the end of it. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we've covered? I know I threw a whole lot at you really fast, but there's a lot of really important information that I wanted all of you to be aware of. Is there anything that we wanted to talk about any more? Any other questions about anything? If not, that's okay. But just know that I'm available. If anything does come up and you want more information or to talk to me, you can reach out to the Delano Police Department and ask for me, or you can call here at the school. And Mr. Reyna and his staff, they're great at communicating with me, and they will give me the information that I know if there's anything that you or anybody else wants to know. So, again, with that, thank you. I'll turn it back to Mr. Reyna. I appreciate you guys' time.
Okay, so once again, I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to assure you that we're going to continue to educate not only our parents and students, but try to share information with the community so that they're aware of a lot of what we talked about today in terms of the topics. So if you didn't get a chance to do so, we still have pizza in the library. I would say recommend you go over there, grab some food. You can eat there. You can take it home. It's up to you, your prerogative. And if there are additional questions you may have for Officer Kraft, you're more than welcome to ask.